Showtime.
Oh. It's showtime.
Just checking everything. Hang on. Stop saying shoot, Christy.
I didn't.
Just put your lip gloss on. It's fine.
Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked a peck.
Oh, you're killing me. See, now we're live. See,
Peter Piper.
you should have put your lip gloss on like 5 seconds ago. They would have caught it.
I wasn't done doing my audio test, Mike.
Well, that's fine. Okay, we're going to jump right into these highlights from the last game. Welcome in, everybody. Fangio does, in fact, know how to call a timeout. Also, the Steelers can successfully do a shuffle pass. And Tom McMahon is writing his biography, Hero one game, Stupid Idiot the next. We're going to cover more on the Mile High Roundtable. Well, hey, how's everybody doing?
Good. How you doing, Mike?
I'm a little cheesed off. Okay, so we're gonna start. We're gonna get to the game. We're gonna recap the Steelers game, I promise. But the first thing I want to cover is the reactions of all the nut jobs. Pardon my French. That are going absolutely crazy about tanking and getting Trevor Lawrence and going after Andrew Luck and signing this person and signing that person and firing everybody in the building. It drives me a little nuts. Well, I mean, is it just me?
No, it's not just you, Mike. It's something that we've been hearing for the last couple of days. And as soon as Drew Lock went down, in my mind, after I got done saying some not so nice words, I started thinking about, people going and saying, that's the season, time to tank for Trevor Lawrence. Then they started talking about getting certain backups, and they basically gave up hope. And they gave up on the defense. They gave up on Jeff Driscoll. They gave up when the team needed you most. People just started losing hope. And that's something that you cannot do. And it's really troubling to see because we're only in week 2. So this is a mentality that I was maybe hoping to see, like, midseason, or if it was an elimination game of, something of that caliber. But when you're only in week 2 and you already got, it almost feels like half of Broncos country just, throwing in the towel and, just being, or what do they call it, a coach couch. It just really, it sucks to see, and it just sucks to hear.
A coach couch?
Yeah.
I mean, a couch coach?
A couch coach.
You're not coaching the couch. You're on the couch coaching.
Yeah.
This is the theme with quarterbacks in Broncos country, is to just toss them under the bus, and that's what happens. One little thing goes wrong, everybody starts freaking out. And to be honest, it's old. It gets old. You can't just give up, and you can't just expect a rookie to come in basically and seize the day and be a Super Bowl caliber MVP. I mean, these are the same people that at the end of last season were like Drew Lock, the savior, and this season now he's dead to them. So it's garbage.
Forget last season, Christy.
Yeah.
Saturday. On Saturday they were a Drew Lock.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So let me preface my comments. Just if by chance this season happens to go south with us still putting in good effort, but just circumstances put us in a position where we're drafting very high next year.
Yeah.
We obviously have to look at everything that's on the table. But the tanking, giving up, and I disagree with you, Don. I think it's a very small amount of people. I just think that they're very vocal in their idiocy. And I don't want these people in Broncos country. I want to put them on a plane and send them to Raiders Island. Just get out. Because we have a lot of good players. Drew Lock is not dead. He was at practice yesterday without a sling on. So they're expecting him back very soon. Bouye is going to be back soon. All right, so we lost Cortland for the year. Vaughn is going to be gone most of the year. But everybody was complaining about Vaughn not being up to standard last year.
Right.
Yep.
We have other stars. We have some young players. We have an incredible tight end. Thank goodness we drafted our first 2 picks with wide receiver because we need them, and I think these guys are going to deliver.
Mm-hmm.
And like Irish Tommy says, thank you, Tommy, for joining us today. Talking about quitting after 2 games is absolutely crazy. And I can't escape it in comments and on other shows and things like that with people commenting about tanking for Trevor when they haven't even given this, Drew Lock is injury prone. How's he injury prone? He got chased because of a terrible right tackle that they continue to keep in there. And did get tripped up. They made it sound like he tripped himself, tripped up and landed on his hand, his shoulder. I mean,
that's a whole different talking point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll get there.
I know. But if you want to tank for Trevor, you need a new team.
Well, and this is my way of thinking because, you look at it and you're like, oh, it's second year. Drew Lock's been here. He should be amazing. It's only his 7th game. Like, he's not even done with a full rookie season yet. When did it become the expectation that you had to be an all-pro your rookie year?
Right.
Like, Ojemudia, he'll get better. He's a rookie. He's going to make rookie mistakes. It happens. Like, you can't sit there and tell me that Deion Sanders came out firing on all cylinders when he was a rookie. Like, you got to give him time. Melvin Gordon, obviously he's not a rookie, but it's his first year in the system. Give him a minute. He doesn't have Phillip Lindsay anymore next to him. Give him a second. It's gonna take time. It's not a Drew Lock issue. Like, we don't have a quarterback issue. Is he hurt? Yeah, but he's hurt for a reason, and we'll get into that reason a little later. Like, it wasn't there were things that could have happened that would have made it so that he didn't get hurt on that play. But again, he's still learning. You got to give him that time. He's not even in the second year yet. He's still halfway through his rookie season, if you look at it. So there's no tanking for Trevor. Like, no NFL team would do that. No. And with how I believe the year is going to go, we're not even going to be in a position to be early enough in the draft to get Trevor Lawrence. And why would we want him in the first place? People may think he's a generational talent. I don't see it. He's good, but I don't see he's not worth trading the farm to go up and get. You got to give what we have time to work.
Can you bring Boana Beast's comment up, please?
I suppose.
Thanks for being here.
Like, there's no way that you would be able to tank and keep your job. So no team is going to tank. It's not, and with the pride that players have, there's no way they would even want to.
No.
So,
and what kind of mentality is that for a new team? That our team is full of rookies, and you're going to say, "Okay, we're tanking this season." That's not good.
Well, look at Jacksonville. They're a perfect example. I mean, the organization is certainly tanking. The team is not.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to see them. They're playing tonight, and they almost won last week to go 2-0, and I expect them to win tonight. So they are showing some heart with basically Gardner Minshew, DJ Chark, and Miles Jack.
Yeah, you got to give credit to this defense, man, because this defense has been keeping us in games. They kept the Pittsburgh Steelers, one of the best rated AFC teams in the AFC, to just a 5-point game. Jeff Driscoll, he went out there. Excuse me. He went out there and he made the best of an unfortunate situation. But that's what you're paying him money for, to go out there and, to play his best. And he started to have some chemistry with Jerry Jeudy and KJ Hamler. Those are 2 guys that I believe he spent more time out on the field in training camp than Drew Lock did before those guys got promoted to the first team reps. So I think that that chemistry is going to really flow during Drew Lock's absence. And as long as his defense, you talked about Ojemudia being a rookie. Yeah, he got burned twice, but he also made some really good coverage plays. He almost had that one interception.
I can't believe he dropped that.
Yeah, he dropped that, and in the Tennessee game, he actually had an interception, but because of a flag, it got called back. So this defense, even though there are some signs of rookie mistakes and that the pass rush isn't as strong as it is without Von Miller,
there isn't a pass rush.
they're keeping this team still in the game, So as long as these guys still go out there and put out, play their hearts out, they deserve all of the support they can get from the fans.
Right.
Okay,
Amen.
so
Amen.
that's our little venting session because that was driving us all nuts.
Let me ask you one thing, because the players are definitely they say they try to block out the noise on something like this.
Yeah.
But do you think that this is the kind of thing that when they see that it could actually make the team stronger and band together, just to prove people wrong? I think it could actually be a motivating factor, as absurd as it may sound.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm sure they do that. It's not like they could block out everything. I'm
Right.
sure they know that they're not playing up to their best abilities and that the team isn't, So I'm sure they do.
All right, so we are going to move into the Steelers game, which, I was hoping for a win. Obviously, we didn't get a win. I've got these notes that I make for every game, and like on the bad side of it, 3 of them are one person, and I'll give you a guess of who that is. Mr. Wilkinson. The first thing in my notes is Wilkinson hurt Lock. He's the reason that Drew Lock is out. I understand that Bud Dupree, who got loose from Garrett Bowles, is the one that hit him, but he hit him because he was running for his life from TJ Watt. Mm-hmm. Because Wilkinson just stood there and said, "Oh, hi," and let him run right by him.
Yeah.
So I don't care who made the hit, who made the tackle. Wilkinson is the reason that Drew Lock got hurt.
I noticed during the game that he's got tattoos on the back of his arms, and there's an E on the left arm and a W on the right. And that's just my reaction when I watch that guy play. Ooh, and then.
Oh, yeah. I figured it was going to be like, okay, if this arm is up, go east. If this arm is up, go west. I won't be able to get you from there. But yeah, I mean, like the Drew Lock snafu aside, there was 8 sacks, 9 sacks?
8 sacks on the day.
He was responsible for all of them but one. In some way or another, he was responsible for almost all of them by Drew Lock. Yeah, Drew Lock or Driscoll having to run for their life from his guy.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with you. I don't know what it is about Wilkinson still being on this O-line. I don't know if he has family connections to the team, or somebody's going to get fired if he gets cut. And it's starting to get to a point where fans are going to start hoping that this man gets hurt just so Dotson can come in and play. But it sucks to be a fan and have that kind of mentality.
Yeah. But
at this point, how many more quarterbacks are going to get hurt? How many more pressures is he going to give up? And Driscoll gets hurt, and then you have to bring in a guy like Bortles, who hasn't even been brought up to speed yet on the playbook or anything. And just thinking about that is pretty frightening.
Yeah. Irish Tommy jumping in saying, "I thought the players showed great fight in difficult circumstances against the Steelers. How about get behind them? Everybody but Wilkinson. I refuse."
I mean, but we don't know about Dotson. Nobody knows. We don't know why they won't put him in.
No,
we automatically assume like Wilkinson has family ties or whatever, but we don't know what is going on with Dotson. Why?
Well, and that's the thing that drives you nuts. Like, if Dotson is that bad that he can't even beat Wilkinson, why have they not gone after somebody else?
Right.
Like, there has to be a backup somewhere that's better than any of the right tackles we have on the team now. There has to be.
Agreed.
So why are we doing nothing? If Dodson is that bad, we're just be like, oh, just let Wilkinson take it. No, because he's going to get somebody hurt again.
Right.
And that was the most disturbing thing about Vic's presser the other day when he was talking about how it's not even been discussed to replace him. And I'm hoping that they're going to do the old switcheroo before the game on Sunday. But man, I just don't get it. And I have to tell you, I owe an apology to Jeff Driscoll because I was so down on that guy during camp and him being just that we were doomed.
Yeah.
And for him to throw over for 250 yards, ice cold, really showed poise there. He looked great out there and rallied that team. We had no business being in that game at the end, and it really stood a good chance of winning, aside from 2 pass plays instead of a couple runs. But that's beside the point.
Now, is it me, or do the coaches not have any faith in Melvin Gordon on goal line or short situations? They don't hand him the ball. They throw it, or they shovel pass it to Mr. Jake Booty, and he doesn't do anything.
Or Nick Van Nett.
Yeah, or the Frenchman. Like
Vinay.
Yeah, Vinay. I mean, is there no trust there at all? Like,
Is it?
I'm sorry.
Is it trust or is it bad play calling? I mean, I don't know.
I mean, there were some situations where I would definitely call a pass, but it seems like they don't go his way at all, anywhere near the goal line.
Well, he just doesn't choose to do that at the right time, and that has a lot to do with bad play calling. So, I mean, I think we'll see Gordon. They're going to use him a lot in the run game, and they're going to have to. And I think we're going to see him get a touchdown.
See, this is why we like you, Buana. Shermer considers short passes as a run.
Right.
I hope you don't mean a shovel pass.
Well,
Similar.
That statement was true up until the very last play, where all we needed was 2 yards, and Driscoll held the ball, and he just watched the defense, the linebacker, come at him at like 80 miles an hour, and instead of throwing the ball, at least he just went down with it.
There was definitely a missed block on that play, so
yeah,
I mean, he didn't stand a chance.
I'm gonna assume it's on the right side of the line that the block was missed. just an assumption.
East, west.
Even if they came from the left, I'm guessing it's Wilkinson's fault.
Yeah.
You should add both of
Okay,
his
so we've covered Wilkinson. Obviously, he's terrible. It seems like they're avoiding running to the right too, because all the yards that Melvin Gordon got, he seemed to be running on the left.
Right.
Yeah.
So they don't even want to run on Wilkinson's side, so he can't pass block and he can't run block. And then you move it over to the defensive line side. We don't have a pass rush at all. Like, Chubb was supposed to pick up the slack, but I'm guessing he's getting doubled like Vaughn was last year.
Yes.
And we don't have Vaughn. I don't think it should be all up to Casey to bust through the line and go in there and get a sack. Like, he needs to help be that run stopper that we really haven't seen that much either. Like, we've had 2 running backs run for 100 yards on us in each game. And I know that it took Henry a while to get there, but it did not take Connor 30-something tries to get to 100 yards.
Well, I mean, in all fairness, Connor broke that long run that got him to that point.
Well, but Denver's been known as not letting up or not letting them have big plays either. We've had a couple in each game.
Right. And
so,
and
you
also rookie, just I don't know.
Well, and you got to think that's because there's no pass rush either. Like, Roethlisberger had forever to sit back there and throw on most of the plays.
Yeah.
On that one play where he threw the interception, he was in the pocket for about good 15, 20 seconds before he released the ball. So, yeah, you're right.
And I'm not saying go out there and go trade for like a super elite pass rusher, but, I mean, you've got to think that with the non-existent pass rush that we have, they would be more inclined to go after Clay Matthews again or Terrell Suggs or somebody just to help. There's no pass rush at all.
Yeah. it's an issue that's more about, I'm pretty sure it has something to do with money. That some of these guys, because we were talking about Ziggy Ansah, he was one of them. He turned down Denver, but he went to go sign. I think he's with the Cowboys.
Niners.
Niners. Sorry, thank you. So he went to go sign with the Niners after they lost 2 of their defensive linemen. So, and it's also, it's something that if, I mean, I really doubt that John Elway plays the trade market before week 8. But that's only unless Denver turns it around and, they start looking more like a contender in terms of, a playoff spot. And we don't go into this funk and living in this, what did they call it last year? The world of suck. So we just have to hope that, we can find a groove and not just find it, but stay on it,
Yeah. Irish Tommy commenting again. Should we have done more to make a deal with Clay Matthews? I'm more of a fan of Terrell Suggs, but yes, I think we should have done more to try to get Clay Matthews, especially looking at what we're looking at now.
See, I don't think he actually wanted to play. He's due $2 million from the Rams, and so he's in some sort of a dispute with them, and there was going to be offset money, from what I understand there. So I don't think he was going to get even a $2 million contract. So he's planning on collecting $2 million without doing anything this year.
Well, yeah, but I mean, at the same time, we're paying DeMar Dotson $3 million to do diddly. So you would think that they'd be like, sure, we can pay Clay Matthews $3 million. Come on in.
Yeah. But at the same time, if you do pay Clay Matthews that $3 million, you're expecting to get, some type of, I mean, obviously you're not going to get the Clay Matthews from his Packers days.
Yeah.
But if you can get him, to come down on, on third or on certain blitzes, it's a pretty big gamble. I know some people have mentioned them signing Terrell Suggs. At this point, any type of pass rusher would help, any veteran pass rusher, I should say. And because, like I said, I don't really see them trading to get an elite pass rusher unless, the Bill O'Brien wants some nachos or something. And we can get something like JJ Watt.
A bologna sandwich and a Twinkie.
Yeah, so unless they do something and get somebody like JJ Watt. But other than that, it's in the air. It's up in the air right now.
Underdog Eric has been asking some questions. He says, hey, MHRT, what's up? 2-part question from an outside perspective. Bears fan, ouch. And yes, we miss Fangio. Considering the injuries the Broncos already have, obviously you don't tank, but can this year be chalked up as a let's see what we have here season to potentially go all in next year? What say you?
It potentially could be that. Let's see what we have here. I mean, it just depends on what happens. I think by game 4, if we keep losing, it's going to be let's see who the best players are, who we need to keep around, what we need to fill, who what we need to get. But
well, I think especially with like looking at cornerbacks, deciding which cornerbacks you want to stay, which ones you don't. Right. Now we get to see more of how Judy's going to respond and how Hamler's going to respond, and see what we've got in Tim Patrick, if he's worth re-signing or not, with not having Sutton in there anymore.
Yeah, you're already seeing that type of thing in Ojemudia and I can't pronounce his last name, Bassi. Yeah, because they promoted our good friend Bosby from the practice squad, and he hasn't. I don't even know if he hasn't gotten a rep yet at all during the Steelers game.
I don't think he's going to either.
Yeah, so right now Fangio is testing out his linebackers. He's testing out his cornerbacks. With the safeties, Kareem Jackson and Justin Simmons, they're doing pretty good, and there's no reliable safety behind them. So I don't think you need to test them. The pass rush, we just talked about. It's a whole different story.
Yeah.
And with Drew Lock going down, it's interesting to see how Jeff Driscoll can handle the pressure of being a temporary backup. And we kind of saw that with Brandon Allen last year. Brandon Allen went 2-2 before he finally got pulled. So
Is it 2-2?
I think so. He beat the Browns, and I forgot what else. He lost against Minnesota, and I could be wrong.
I don't know.
Yeah, but he looked like, and we could see the same thing in Driscoll. Maybe Driscoll goes out and beats Tampa Bay, and the following week we have the Jets. So the schedule is going to roller coaster, go up and down for this team, and like we just have to make do with what we have.
Yeah. Well, I like to, I was thinking when when we were talking about when people were freaking out over Bortles, and we'll get there too, but if you look at the situation that we're in with Driscoll, it kind of reminds me of Matt Castle. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say Driscoll is the second coming of John Elway, but with the talent that's around Driscoll, we shouldn't see too much of it. We'll see a drop off, but I don't think we'll see too much of a drop off because of everything he's surrounded by.
Right. Well, and we kind of saw that the Steelers game.
Yeah.
We kind of saw that, we hung in there, and even without Drew Lock, and it was he played decent. I wasn't crazy about him going out there and playing, and I was kind of glad to see, what he has to offer.
Yeah. Second question from Underdog Eric. How much slack do you give Fangio and Elway beyond this year, considering you guys might potentially have the toughest division in the AFC over the next few years?
I think it all boils down to what is beyond our control and what is within their control. Right. For example, if they start making really bad decisions and continue to play players that don't make sense, or to make some signings for guys that are just stopgaps that aren't very successful, or to do some play calling or take some chances that are clearly negligent and not very smart gambles, I think that those will be black marks against them. If we continue to lose players, I mean, I put this shirt on today, and it's Locke and Sutton and Judy.
Don't pull it up too far.
Right. That's it. Only 5. We're not going anywhere. So
PG show, Glenn.
Yeah. Locke, Sutton, Judy, Lindsay, and Gordon. 3 out of those 5 are out already. And Judy is banged up, and it did not look good when he was laying there in a heap. Thank goodness it was. I thought it was a head injury, and thank goodness it was just ribs. Hopefully he doesn't need an injection this week. But
I was getting ready to say the same thing.
Get that Chargers doctor away from the Broncos facility.
Yeah. So, but if we start getting guys back and the team really starts gelling and they're behind the philosophy of the coach, I think they're going to continue to get notice. If you look at the players that always brought in the last 3 years, I mean, there are a lot more pros than cons on that list. So,
yeah.
Well, and I know that I've talked about this before. But me personally, I think unless you're like a next level terrible coach like Vance Joseph or Josh McDaniels, I think that you should be given minimum of 4 years. You got your first 2 to establish, your system and how everything's going to go. Your third year to see to have it all come together, and then the 4th year to see if you get better. After that, goodbye. But whatever coach is all super excited about Wilkinson and keeping him in there, whatever coach that is, he needs to go. Whether it's Fangio, whether it's Elway, whether it's Munchak, I don't care. Whoever is all hot and bothered for Elijah Wilkinson needs to go bye-bye.
Yeah, I think this year Fangio will be bailed out by the injuries, because that's something that's out of his control, especially if these injuries just keep mounting, and it's something that the Denver Broncos, as a team, that they can't overcome, and they fall behind in this division. Now, granted, the Raiders and the Chargers and the Chiefs, they have some injuries, but they are nowhere near where Denver is. And if things were on the other way around, they'd be in the same boat. If the reigning champs were dealing without Mahomes, or if the Raiders were dealing without Carr, or if the Chargers are dealing without Tyrod. But It just that, but you only get one shot at that. So, next season, Fangio would have to come out, and depending on what moves Elway makes in free agency and the draft, which to Glenn's point, John Elway has done a really good job the last 3 years in bringing guys players. So John Elway, the only bad thing that kind of irritates me that he does is, he's cheap. Sometimes he doesn't want to shell out or, go for the, spend the big bucks. He's a bit conservative. But if he can go out and give Fangio and give Shermer the weapons and tools that they need to be successful, and if Shermer and Fangio can't go out there and get the job done, injuries will not save. Well, maybe Shermer, because it would technically be Shermer's second year. But usually with a new head coach, a new offensive and defensive coordinator, come follow.
Yeah. Well, and Chris Hernandez saying it took Kyle Shanahan 3 years before he turned the Niners around. That's why I've never been a big fan of like 1 year, first year or second year coaches being fired. It doesn't make any sense. Unless it's the two previous coaches that I mentioned who should have been fired after like 6 games.
Yeah.
And then the Irish Tommy, with the injury riddled season, will Fangio get a pass no matter what? I think with injuries and with the lack of an off season, pretty much everyone except for maybe Adam Gase is going to get a pass.
I was going to say, we've talked about the bad. Let's shift a little bit to the good things that came about from Sunday.
I have. Okay, now take this with the. There's a caveat on this. Judy did look better, but he still had some dropping issues.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know whether that's a common problem or if it's just now he's the first receiver, no excuses, it's all on you, go get it. Kind of, I've got to do too much because I'm wide receiver 1 now.
Right.
Trying to, turning his eyes up too fast and not concentrating on making the catch. I don't know. But Hamler looked good too. I'm really excited about having Hamler out there now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hamler did look good.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Christy.
And because Driscoll and Hamler practice together in training, they're going to have a little more, compatibility on the field, comfortable. So.
Yeah, Hamler and Fant were getting some really good throws with Driscoll.
Yeah.
That catch by Noah Fant on the sidelines.
That was awesome.
Beautiful. It was a thing of beauty. And it goes back to, the chemistry that Jeff Driscoll has with these guys. So, we have to pray, we have to knock on wood, do whatever, then hope that Driscoll doesn't get hurt, because the worst thing that can happen is to bring in a guy who's only been on the team for 2-3 days and has no chemistry, doesn't know the playbook, and expect him to go out there and, bring us a win.
Yeah.
So, when you were mentioning Hamler, I didn't realize how feisty he is.
Right.
He was mixing it up, and that shove on Hayden too. That was Hayden gets up. What just happened? Is that supposed to be a penalty?
He's got like short person anger issues, and
Oh,
he's not even that short.
I love it. I cannot wait for him to just be sprinting off the the bombs right down the field. I'm really excited to see him. And as far as Judy, I mean, the guy's in his second game. He's 2 years into this career. He came back from being injured last week when we really needed him. I'm not worried about Jerry Jeudy. Noah Fant, I'm so excited about.
He's on fire.
We just have to keep feeding him the ball. It seems like there's little spurts and then nothing. And I think that guy is a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, and even at the beginning of the year, we were talking about how the defense was going to have to carry the offense for a little bit, for the first couple of weeks, so the offense can gel. And then when Vaughn got hurt, it's like, oh well, the offense is going to have to step up.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the defense has played solid. They're not a bad defense. There's some rookie mistakes on the outside, and there's no pass rush, but you basically played 2 playoff caliber, Super Bowl caliber teams, and we lost by a combined 7 points. Right. So, and with the if you take that safety off the board, we tie that game and go into overtime, I think.
Yeah.
Instead of having to go for a touchdown. So, I mean, we're right there.
Yeah.
We do need to give the offense a couple more weeks, that they are looking better. And once we get, poltergeist! And once we get, sorry if that was loud. There we go. Once we get Philip Lindsay back, then we'll see how well Lindsay. I'm sorry. We'll see how well Lindsay and Gordon can get back to it.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time. And like I said to somebody I think it was yesterday, I'd rather lose to these two teams now and meet them in the playoffs and win against them there, because that win goes a lot farther than being 2-0 now. But that's just just a saying. I'm not saying that it's going to happen, but it goes back to what we started to our point at the beginning of this podcast is you have to be hopeful. Just because one player goes down, you cannot give up hope and just start saying, it's time for the team to start tanking, pull out all the starters and send in the second and third stringers out there. It's like, no, you can't lose hope. You can't lose faith. You have to stay behind this team and rally with them as they're trying to come back and stay competitive in that game.
Yeah, and with how the defenses look this year, you've got to be hopeful for, when we get Vaughn back, how next year's going to look. Like, the defense has been solid. I don't think they're as good as they would have been with Miller, but they're good. I still think they're a top 15 defense, maybe better. And then you've got the always consistent and obvious all-pro Noah Fant.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's all you got to say. What's a good part of the Broncos? Fant. That's it.
No, that's not it.
That's all you got to say. It's Fant.
Give Fant the ball.
Yeah. And in equal quarters and equal halves, too. Not just in the first half and then forget about him in the second half.
Right.
But, I mean, is that more of like a scheming issue? Is it a play calling issue? Is it a defense shifting issue? Like, is it all of them?
Is it them trying people out? Is that what it is? Is that what we're talking? I mean, the whole point is, are they just trying things out this year? Is that what they're going to chalk this whole season up to?
I hope not. I hope it's trying out while they win.
Sometimes you can't do that.
Yeah, well, I mean, the pressure now is on Jerry Jeudy now that he's been moved up to number one wide receiver. Right. So now his mental health is really going to be put to the test, because every single drop pass, every single if he bobbles a catch like Sutton did on that very last play that led to a Driscoll interception, right, that's going to weigh on him, and it'll be up to not just the coaching staff but the team itself to rally behind him and say, hey, you know what, you messed up. It's okay. Shake it off, kid. Let's get the ball back and, get back into this game. Don't always fret about it.
Mr. Boggins. We talked about this a little bit earlier. He said, anyone else watch the Pittsburgh All-22? No. And is really worried about Locke's progression. Mechanics, Reid's decisions, all bad. Again, we're like 7 games into his rookie year. He's technically he's been here 2 years, but he's only played 6 and like a quarter. So you got to give him time. He's still technically in his rookie year.
To Mr. Boggins' point, though, Drew does throw an awful lot off his back foot.
I wonder why.
Well,
Wilkinson.
Right.
But he definitely has some things to work on. He doesn't have a lot of experience, but hopefully he gets back sooner than later and does get to work on those things. Hopefully he's got the VR glasses and he can watch Blake Borders practice and do his thing. It's nice to see a number 5 on the practice field, by the way. But
we're moving into Bortles next. So there was
did we see Drew Lock last season for the last games that he played in, was he throwing off of his back foot more or less than this season?
Was Wilkinson in the game?
Yeah.
Then probably
He
the
was.
same
I don't think he was.
or more.
I think it was a lot. I think it was a lot better.
No, Locke wasn't thrown off of his back foot that much last season, especially in that game against Kansas City, where if you try to throw off your back foot, you're gonna slip and fall right on your butt. But those throws, even though he was under pressure, he usually always made the catch, unless he just threw it out of bounds, And to Drew Lock's credit, while he still has a lot to learn, he's also learning as you go along. And by that I mean is that he's not making the mistakes that a normal rookie makes in terms of just throwing the ball and hoping somebody else catches it, or just throwing the ball and it keeps getting intercepted. Just to say that, hey, I tried. You're not seeing that out of Drew Lock. His throws are pretty accurate. His reading of the defense still needs work, but with time that's going to get better.
Mr. Boggins coming back in with no, not all Wilkinson. Locke refuses to step up. No. Anything that goes wrong with the Broncos is Wilkinson's fault. Special teams, coaching,
or Juwan James, but
attendance issues, anything. It doesn't matter.
No, Mr. Boggins is right about that. If he steps up more instead of starting to dart out to his right, I think you're going to see, especially with that arm strength, I think you're going to see a much more successful outcome.
Agreed.
Yeah, and I think that the offensive line still needs to gel a little bit. We haven't seen very good games from Cushenberry, Reisner, Glasgow. I'm not even going to talk about the right side because we've already discussed that. But the other three that are actually good players, I think need to gel a little bit more.
I'm gonna call it the coaching on that.
What on the line?
For Drew,
Yeah.
Last season he was doing much better, and this season he kind of I don't know.
With Shula?
Yeah.
You think it's Shula or you think it's Shermer?
I don't know. Could be a combo of both, but he's definitely dropping back way far. He's throwing off his back foot more. I don't know. Just depends.
Okay.
The whole season's situational.
Speaking of quarterbacks, how many people lost their mind because we signed Blake Bortles? I don't understand. Blake Bortles is the backup's backup. Like, he's there in case Driscoll gets hurt because the coaching staff had no confidence that Rippon would do anything. So they brought in Bortles. He's not going to take over for Locke. He's not going to take over for Driscoll. He's there so that Royce Freeman is not our emergency quarterback.
Hey, have we seen
That's it.
Royce Freeman play?
Not as a quarterback.
He might be a better quarterback than he is a running back. I don't want to find out.
I mean, if he can hit a helmet,
then he's matched
then
Bortles.
he's in, right?
He's just as good.
Christy with the if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball theory, right?
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge.
I think Bortles. I didn't hate the move. I have not heard any money from him. I can't imagine
I think it's minimum.
But
What?
I don't think it's a bad move to have somebody on the depth chart with his experience. I mean, the guy, he was in the AFC Championship not too long ago.
3 years ago.
He's not a total hack.
Well, and besides Bortles, who's even available that's any good? I mean, and if any, I swear, if anybody says
geez.
Kaepernick
Yeah.
in the comments, listen, he was replaced by Blaine Gabbert because he sucked when he was playing. He hasn't played in 4 years. We're not signing Kaepernick. So stop it.
And Blaine Gabbert, coincidentally, is the backup for Tom Brady.
Right.
Oh, there. See, Mr. Boggins has got it. Blake Bortles is here to start, and then we're going to draft Lawrence. Duh, you haven't heard?
Duh.
See, it's that kind of comment that makes me cringe a little bit.
Yeah, the signing for Blake Bortles, to me, it
So
didn't
funny.
really bother me. I guess it was in terms of experience, it was a little bit of a safer bet than going with somebody like Rippon, or in that case, you might as well have just brought back Kevin Hogan for that part,
Slaughter.
or Sloter. I
And
don't.
that's the other one that we keep saying is Slaughter, you know.
Yeah,
I wanted Slaughter back, but
It's a
or
UNC fans.
Lil Simeon.
I mean,
Man.
the fact that we're having to debate about a third string quarterback is just driving me nuts
Yeah, wow.
because we don't have Drew Lock. So Blake Bortles as the backup's backup is the big news.
Let's just be glad that we can say we don't have Drew Lock for a while instead of we don't have Drew Lock until 2021.
Well, and even that, like they didn't put him on IR. So you know, on
Right.
IR it's a minimum of 3 weeks.
They
So
learn
you
from their
have to
mistakes.
think- Well, and you have to think that the coaches one of two things. Either they want him there at practice to continue to learn, or he's only going to be out 2 to 3 weeks and then he'll be back.
Yeah,
Whatever
the
it
expectation is for him to come back after
Yeah.
the Jets game.
it's
you
hope.
know.
That's all.
Yeah.
And
And
with that being a Thursday night game, he's got an additional week and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why some were saying, you know, maybe wait until the bye week and then he's got an extra
Right.
week that
And
way
then he's
too.
gotta-
But
yeah.
if they're not going to put him on IR, you've got to think 2 to 3 weeks and they want him at practice.
mhm.
So this weekend,
This
Tommy and
weekend,
Tommy and the Bucs. Now, we've
well,
been,
and you're not even seeing the same Tom Brady either. So
no,
No.
and the guy's practically my age. You know?
he's not that old, Glenn.
So he's not, you're right, he's not. But you know the fact of the matter is we've been harping on pass rush, and if we can't put a pass rush on a 43-year-old guy that was
Right.
never mobile,
Right.
we're gonna be really panicking come week 4.
Well, and having Tom Brady on the other team, even though he's not the old Tom Brady, he still is going to be able to recognize any weakness that we have on the outside that he can throw to. That's the one thing that kind of scares me about having Ojemudia and Bassie out there
Right.
is that, you know, we don't know who they're going to be. I'm assuming that it's going to be Ojemudia on Evans and that it's
Mhm.
going to be Callahan on Godwin.
Yeah.
I think Callahan was thinking he's going to be on Evans. Actually, I saw him.
Callahan on Evans.
Yeah.
So they're trying to do speed on speed. Ojemudia
That's-
on Godwin.
He did a press conference yesterday and he mentioned Evans.
Okay.
Okay.
So I mean, you've got to be worried about. And then who's their third wide receiver?
Well, it was
It's,
Scotty Miller, but I think he has an injury
He's injured.
designation.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know who the backup is.
So you've got to think that they're going to be aiming towards, you know, obviously Mike Evans because he can out jump Callahan, but you've got to think weakness wise they're going to be looking at Ojemudia or Bassie,
Bassie, yeah.
Mhm.
and so
Also, they've got 3 pretty good tight ends too.
yeah, and well,
Yeah.
I don't know about Gronkowski. He's good
Well,
by
he's-
name only right now.
Right now, he's a
been
better
invisible.
blocker than a catcher.
Yeah. He's been pretty invisible. But
Yeah.
I think they're going to use him. They're going to utilize him more during this game.
Yeah, OJ Howard, and you'll see more action out of OJ Howard and Cameron Brate than you probably will of Gronk. He has not shown that he can be the Gronk of old. Not
He's
yet,
not.
anyway.
He's not.
You know, and then there's the pass rush issue. I mean, obviously having a pass rush is going to prevent Brady from sitting back there and picking apart our defense. And then you throw in not knowing exactly who's going to start at running back for the Bucs. Is it going to be Fournette? Is it going to be Jones? Is it going to be both? You know, they're both pretty good running backs, and Fournette has obviously stepped his game up a little bit since he left the Jags. You know, and it's not like we're facing Henry again and Connor, but I think Fournette's better than Connor, in my opinion. So, you know, how are they going to scheme it to where we're stopping the run, but still able to give some help on the back end for the rookie corners?
Well, that all depends which linebackers we get. If we get the linebackers for Monday night,
Honey
either
Bear!
Fournette, yeah, those running backs won't stand a chance. But if we get the the linebackers that we had from Sunday who I
Let
don't
me
know.
down.
Yeah, let us down, especially after we gave all the praise to Honey Bear.
He gave him his own nickname, and it just
Yeah, I think that made him soft.
you think that made him soft?
Yeah.
Josie
No.
Honey Bear Jewel.
Bear is
Oh.
in the name. He's tough.
Start
Yeah.
calling him Gummy Bear instead.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, Fournette only had like 2 really good plays against Denver last year when he was with Jacksonville. But other than that, Denver was able to corral him and keep him from, running wild. So if they can keep Derrick Henry from going nuts, I think they can do the same thing with Leonard Fournette. But again, like I said, that depends on which linebackers we see on Sunday.
Well, and like the Titans, like Henry is all they have, except for obviously Corey Davis, Glenn. But like Henry was all they had. Whereas like the Bucs, you've got Evans, you've got Godwin, you've got Gronkowski, and was it OJ Howard?
Yeah.
And then you've got Ronald Jones, and you've got Leonard Fournette. So like there's so many more options for them that they can take advantage of.
Right.
I do love on the Bucs depth chart they have Fournette third on the running back depth chart behind McCoy. They still have it today, actually.
He's gonna work his way up. He's starting to find his rhythm, and you could see that game for game. He's starting to, they're gonna use him.
Yeah, McCoy had a fumble, if I'm not mistaken, on Sunday. So he's already in hot water with the coaches.
So Sunday much hot water because Gordon had a fumble and he's still in there.
Well, who else is there?
Well, we can't put Royce in there. He's our backup.
Freeman. He's all pro.
So it'll be interesting to have actual fans into this in the stadium.
Right.
It is the number itself is pretty curious. It's only 5,700 out of 76,000.
Boggins said it's 5,700 is what they're allowing.
That is correct, and they're obviously going to be pretty spaced out. I mean, it's less than 10%.
Yeah.
And you're looking at, with the Dallas game, they had 25% of their capacity were in the stadium. I don't, off the top of my head, I don't know what the Jaguars have as far as stadium capacity, but they're supposed to have 17,000 fans there. So it'll be interesting to see when we start ramping up and adding more people into the mix. But it'll be nice to actually have some real cheering and some real incompletes and things like that.
I think that'll help. That'll help out.
Ah, man, you just missed the little stuff,
Right.
Underdog Eric saying, not to mention Scotty Miller's speed. He showed up on the injury report today as leaving practice with a hip groin injury. Right. So we'll have to see how that all plays out. But I will say that if you look at the Bucs and you look at the Broncos, they're really similar. Like their defenses are both pretty good.
Right.
And they're hi, Kitty. And their offenses are trying to figure out where they fit.
Right.
Yeah.
Hopefully we have a black cat that goes in front of Brady's path here.
Oh, like the one that crashed the Jets game last year?
There's one team that Brady has a hard time with, and that is the Denver Broncos. So we got that going for us.
Yeah.
So on the other side of the ball, though, for Tampa Bay, they are pretty stacked as far as
yeah. I mean, like name recognition on their defense is crazy, but if you look at the name recognition and how they've played, they haven't really played up to expectations of what they should. Not yet. Not yet.
They're gelling. They're a lot of different outlets have them going down on the chart, but I disagree. I think they're starting to gel, and I think they're going up.
Yeah, because I mean, you look at the depth chart on defense. You've got Sue at defensive end, Vita Vea at nose tackle, William Golston for the other end. So there's your front three.
Right.
And then outside linebackers, Jason Pierre-Paul and Shaquille Barrett, and then inside is Devin White and Levante David. Like that is a scary front seven. Yeah. Just name recognition alone.
Right.
Yeah. Well, keep in mind JPP did leave with an injury today from practice.
Yeah, he went with what did I say? Knee,
shoulder. What was it? Shoulder or knee?
Knee.
Oh, it's a
Jason.
knee.
Yeah, Jason Pierre-Paul was out of practice today with a knee injury.
So he might be on a limited snap count come Sunday. But even so, you're right, Mundungus. That just reading those names, that line, those 6-7 guys, pretty formidable.
Yeah.
But the advantage that Denver has is that the Bucs don't really have any tape on Jeff Driscoll aside from what he did when he was in Detroit. So Denver does hold the element of surprise
Yep.
in terms of what they can do with the offense. But on the other hand, it's pretty much the same thing. I mean, obviously the Broncos know who Tom Brady is, but he's playing under a whole different scheme and system now. So whatever.
Yeah.
And
He's
add
still
into that.
learning.
Add
He's
into that front
slow.
seven, you got Antoine Winfield Jr., the rookie, who had a crazy game last week.
Yeah, but that was against Teddy P.
That's good.
So we've talked about the offense, we've talked about the defense, we've talked about all the crazy fans telling us to trade and drop and fire and blah, blah, blah. How do you see the game ending up this weekend? Do we win? Do we lose? What do you think?
Ooh.
Ooh.
And
what's
if
your
you're in the
score?
comments, you add your predictions as well.
I think the Broncos pull through. I think it'll probably come down to field goals because it just feels like it's going to be whose ever kicker misses first or, a defensive play. But I think it's going to be like a 3-point game, 3-point difference.
Okay.
What's your score prediction?
Score, I'd probably say 24-21 Broncos.
Not bad at all.
That's very close to mine. Yeah.
Well, but last week you
What you got,
chose the
Christy?
Broncos losing, Christy.
And what happened?
No, that
Ding, ding,
just means you jinxed it.
No.
Christy's the black cat. You got to make him win.
Don't make me go poltergeist again.
Do it.
I have the Broncos winning 21-22. 3.
223.
It's gonna be close. It's gonna be about 3 points. That I'm the same. 2 to 3. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm confused what the final score was.
I don't know. I can't.
It was 24, 22, 23, 22.
It's 21.
Hut. I'm going 23-20 Broncos. I think we pull this one out. It's going to be tight. McManus will kick a 72-yard field goal at the as time expires, and then the 5,700 fans storm the field and tear the goalpost down.
Right.
Wow.
He's gonna kick the ball over the mountains.
I'm actually agreeing with Mr. Boggins. He's got Broncos 31-14. I agree. Except I think it's going to be 31-21. I think that Driscoll's going to go in there and blow the doors off the place.
You think so?
No.
I like
but
Boggins'
I
pick.
can hold out hope.
I
my
actually
favorite.
like that pick now that you mention it.
No, you can. No changes.
I'm not changing it. I'm just saying I like it.
Well, if we let
I
Christy
like it.
talk, she'd eventually get to 31.
Irish Tommy's now the black cat. Look, we
Now
lose
that-
28-20.
Oh,
Now that one I
Shame
don't
on
like.
you.
That one I don't like.
And then Albert Knoppers, I think I said that right. 21-27 Broncos.
That's close. Yeah,
Perfect.
that's good.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
So far, this season, we've picked all the AFC West games. 6'10", Christy and me are 4-3. Because Christy, you chose the Broncos losing. I chose the Raiders winning. So yay, that evened out. And then Glenn is 3-4. You're a terrible person, Glenn.
That has
now-
nothing to do with my picks, but
So now we got to move on to this week. First game is Raiders and Patriots.
Man, that's a good one.
2-2.
I'm going Patriots at home.
Yeah.
Cam's on a roll.
Yeah.
Fans are excited out here
Yeah.
about that. I don't see them losing to the Raiders at this point, even though the Raiders made Drew Brees look like he was old man winter. So
Yeah.
Well,
The Raiders do have some key injuries on that offensive line, but even if they do come back, Cam Newton he's pretty much on a momentum that you can't really ignore.
Yep.
And, the chemistry's starting to take together. And if it wasn't for that one play, they probably would have walked out of Seattle winners. So I'm going to take New England.
Same.
Sorry, I'm taking the Raiders again.
I despise you.
You're a Raiders fan.
I'm sorry.
You know what? There's room on that plane to Raiders Island just for you.
I think I see a Raiders jersey behind those jerseys over there.
Yeah, it's secret.
Mike can be a lap child on that plane, brother.
How about Panthers Chargers?
Oh, that's Chargers all the way.
Chargers.
Panthers are they don't have McCaffrey. That offense still can't find a way to. That's not Bridgewater and Robbie Anderson. So, yeah.
The Chargers look legit.
Okay. Big one. Chiefs.
I'll go Chargers on that.
Oh.
I haven't picked yet.
Glenn, you didn't.
Well, hurry up.
You skipped over Glenn.
Glenn.
It's just Glenn.
I know I'm a bad person. Give me another chance.
Chiefs and Ravens.
I was actually thinking about this one, and I think that the Ravens are going to. I think the Ravens are going to win that one. Give Kansas City their first loss of the season.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that.
I'm going to have a hard time climbing out of the basement here because I'm going Ravens as well.
Woo.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, their offenses are pretty matched, but the Ravens have a better defense.
We actually saw Mahomes scrambling in the game last week.
Yeah, he's running for his life.
He's been exposed. They know what to do and what to go after, and the Ravens are pretty.
You know who also was exposed was Chris Harris Jr. on that Tyreek Hill bomb.
Wasn't it a beautiful?
You've been waiting to talk about that. You called me like the second it happened. Did you see that? Chris Harris got burned.
The only bad thing was he didn't turn around and blame his safety like I always said he would.
I thought he was going to blame the Broncos for it.
I'm surprised he didn't go on social
Kareem
media.
Jackson's fault.
Right?
Actually, just today he blamed the team doctor, but
he didn't get a shot in the lungs. All right, so we are just about out of time, but we do have some more predictions here. We have Albert jumping back in, 27-24 Pats.
Yes, sir.
We have, where'd you go? Mr. Boggins choosing the Chargers and choosing the Ravens. And then 24-9 for the Chargers. And 34-31 Ravens. Wow, that's a high-scoring game.
Yeah, it is.
I like you, Tommy. You're pretty cool, man. I like your picks.
All right, so that is going to do it for us. We have had a blast, and don't forget that we are live every Thursday. I'm going to get this right. 5 Central, 6 Eastern, and 3 Pacific. I've been practicing just so I could get it right. And
of course you forgot 4 Mountain where Broncos come.
I'm not. No, that's too many numbers.
You have to add that in.
It's too many numbers.
Next week.
Some people are from Colorado, Mundungus.
That's fine, but we're
Imagine
not.
That Denver Broncos fans from Colorado.
Ironic. 4 great Broncos fans, and none of us are from the mountain.
So you can catch us live on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, and then make sure you go to the YouTube page, like and subscribe, turn the notification on, leave comments, let us know what you think, all that fun stuff. Once again, I am Mundungus Creevy, joined by 6'10" Mexican KR and Glenn Hauser.